The next limiting factor that we're going to be talking about is the pressure rating here. So the equation is very similar to what we saw earlier with the MMP. So PSIG minus, I'm going to call it C, over 0.445. And in this situation, from 0 to 61 feet, C is going to be equal to 90 I'll call that 0 to 60. And then from 61 to 135 feet, 130 feet, C is going to be equal to 135. And then from 130 to greater than that, it's going to be equal to 165. All right, so let's go ahead and throw a couple numbers at this. One thing else I wanted to point out, this PSIG, this is how much PSIG that your compressor is able to put out at once, okay? How much it's putting out, not like what your tanks are jammed up to. Remember, we're talking about compressors. So this is the rated delivery pressure of that compressor. All right, so let's say that our rated delivery pressure of our compressor is 190. So we take 190 and then we want to plan a dive to go to, let's say our first dive that we're going to do, dive number 1 is going to be 120 feet. So dive number 1 right here is going to fall into this range. So our C factor is going to be 135. So we're going to go ahead and subtract that from here, and then we're going to divide it by 0.445. And if you watch my calculator, we're going to do 135 equal to 55 divided by 0.445 equals 123, we'll call it 0.6. But remember, this is a cutoff depth as well, or a depth limit. So think about what we want to do with this number. This is the deepest they can possibly go under these circumstances. So we want to round down to stop them before they get that. If we put it at 124, they'd be going too deep. So we round down in this situation and we get 123 feet of seawater for our depth limit. Now let's say we have that same compressor, and let's use another situation. Let's go up here and say that we're going to plan a dive to 50 feet. So we fall in this range. Well, we take 190 minus 90 in this case over 0.445 is equal to, well, obviously 190 minus 90 is 100 divided by 0.445 gives us the answer of 224.7. We round down, that gives us 224 feet of seawater. So this might seem a little weird, like why is it deeper than the depth range that we gave it to? That's just saying that like your cutoff depth, if you're actually going to go this deep, you would need to redo your equation for down here. So we'll redo that really quick and see what we can come up with. So once again, our compressor output minus our depth that we're talking about. Say we're going to plan a dive to, 150 feet. We subtract 165 here, and then we divide that by 0.445. 190 minus 165 is equal to 25 divided by 0.445 is equal to 56.1 is equal to 56. That's essentially saying that this compressor isn't strong enough. It's not powerful enough for us to do those dives that deep. And that makes sense because up here we were way good when we did this dive right here to between 0 to 60 feet. Our cutoff depth was super deep. And then we did it in the middle range. It actually was like, hey, you're cut off right here at 123. So obviously if we tried to go deeper and use that same compressor for this, we're gonna get cut off shorter. That's also feet of seawater. So intuitively, that's kind of what it's about. But just remember that this factor C, once again, just like MMP, changes, and it could be one of these three values based on the depth of the dive that you're doing.